Hey, everyone. It is J&A from the Let's Get Loud podcast. Hello, Alicia.
Well, hello there, friends.
So, this podcast is coming out pretty close to the holidays. Hopefully we're ready. Hopefully whoever's listening, you are just ready for it. Christmas is in 1 week. 1 week from today. Dia was like looking, she just got this calendar and she's filling in all of her plans. My mother-in-law gave her a puppy calendar of 2024.
Okay.
And
My kids have calendars and I got them last year for Christmas and they love having it.
Okay, I think she's not going to be consistent with it.
Okay.
I think it's really exciting. She is filling it up, but I'm like, this is going to be a waste of time. Where's that going to be? Where do you hang that? We don't have any walls.
I hang it on their room.
No, there's nothing. We don't hang things on walls at the Cormiers.
Okay. You can actually get, I don't know if you're allowed at the Cormiers, but they have sticky things there's no hole in the wall.
Oh, ooh, we'd have to pass it on the board.
Yeah.
And the president of the board is very strict. Very strict.
Tells you to do a PowerPoint presentation on why.
Excel. Yeah, PowerPoint. Yes. Why she needs this calendar. Where was I going? Oh, right. So I'm like, this is the last day of school, December 22nd. She's like, Bella, it's so close, on the calendar. She sees how close it is to Christmas. She's like, it should end on the 15th. I'm like, to do what? To do what? What are you doing? I'm like, where pa? Christmas will be ready by December 25th. No, it doesn't matter what I said, you actually need to go to school to leave me alone so that I can get ready for the holidays. What do you do? What do you?
I like it when it's up close.
I
like it when they finish. It's funny that Dia said that because Neil said something similar. I'm like, what do you do for Christmas? You just finish work and it all arrives.
You're right. Christmas arrives.
Christmas is the time where I think I might end up getting a divorce. I need to remind myself of this.
You get real upset.
Yeah, it's just because it's the discrepancy in tasks increases even more.
You disconnect. Oh, I know. Oh my God, you want to laugh? So I was picking up antibiotics for Noah because he has an ear infection. And so I was picking it up and Jeff was the one I was at when he started to be like, oh my God, it's bad. And so happy that our next door neighbor is a doctor. And I was like, hello, do you have your machine to check whatever? She's like, ooh, it's bad. Ooh, it's a bad one. Ooh. I was like, oh no. She's like, whew. So it gets worse. So we obviously Noah takes no medication, right? You remember that? Right. Okay. So he's in pain and I'm like, just do it. And when someone else listens to it, and I would be the same. So I understand, but when someone else listens to my story, they're like, oh, see. I'm like, he is a human being. I can't force. He can keep I can open the mouth. He can close his teeth. And then I put it in, he's just going to spit it out. He's not a, one person's like, yeah, my dog. I'm like, well, this is not a dog. This is a human who will spit it out and say no. And I'm traumatizing him. So I've given him medication, everyone. Never given him medication. He is 5 years old because he's never been at a point where it's been needed. But antibiotics are needed. You cannot say no to them. So just that created a little bit of
some people do.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Okay, cool.
It's it's a real thing.
Well, it's coming. Listen to my story. So anyways, he's in such pain that he finally is like, I'll do it. So he takes the medication, but 2-3 hours later, he wakes up and he's just it's not going well. So I'm like, I want to switch to Tylenol Advil. And I'm like, hey buddy, you won't sleep. You're in pain. He's like, ça fait mal. Anyway, so he spit it and I decided to go with, more because my method of, I don't get mad. I don't be no, that's not, and it's never worked on him. It's not his way to behave or to react. He's not going to be better because I yell, So, but I was upset and I was like, t'es plus un bébé. Comme, non, c'est inacceptable. Comme, avale right now. As-tu compris? We're starting again. Papa va chercher and we're doing it. As-tu compris? He's like, oui. I was like, and then just I don't know what you told him, but good job. Because Jeff arrived and he just took it and said nothing and went to bed and slept all night. The next morning, wakes up, everything's good. Ear doesn't hurt, but I went to antibiotic store to the pharmacy. Okay, this is where the story was funny. So I get to the pharmacy and she's like, she wants me to pay. And I'm like, cool, I will follow what the pharmacy is telling me. However, I feel like we're covered here. So I just like send a text to Jeff. Hello, should I be paying for these medication? And he's like, no, it's fully covered. I'm like, oh, so happy I texted, because then I would have gotten home and Jeff would have been like,
Big trouble.
Big trouble. Everyone's really proud of me for texting. So then they're struggling with the computer and it, whatever. And then they ask me very adult questions that I did not know. Like, are you insured? Don't know. Are you assured alone or with your family? No clue. And then I'm like, these are very adult questions. Miss, would you like for me to call my husband? And then they're laughing because they're all women, right? And then I'm like, listen, I said, this is above what I've decided what I signed up for. These are very adult questions for me. And I'm like, I promise that I do things in life. And then the girl's like, oh, trust me, we know who you are. We know you do TikToks. I was like, oh, great. This is what she thinks I do. I do TikToks all day. Anyways, I'm like, cool. And she's like, okay, so you don't know. I'm like, I don't know. Do I need to call my husband? She's like, no. And then the other young one's like, this is hilarious. Because I was like, she just keeps asking me. I'm like, I'm telling you, if you ask me one other question about insurance, I don't know. And then at the same time, Jeff sends me like pictures of like the card and the back of the card with numbers. He's like, give them this. So I'm like, like a child. And she's like, good for you. And I'm like, you know what? We all have our roles. Oh, anyway, so I thought you would think that's funny. All that to say, Noah is intolerant to amoxicillin because he vomits the minute, like 20 minutes later. He's hyper. And then he's like eating. And then all of a sudden vomits. Like, it's like, so he did it twice. So then I contacted her, the doctor, and I said, he had not even started his antibiotics and his ear was already not hurting. She's like, well, come over. We'll make sure it doesn't get worse, because that could be a bad thing. She's like, keep an eye on it. She's like, if it gets better, you don't need antibiotics. I'm like, oh my God. But she's like, but now you have to know that he's like probably intolerant to it. So when he does need antibiotics, he'll have to say that. I'm like, this is so hard.
Oh,
yeah. And it's the first time puking. And he's like, what is this? And I was like, ceci, c'est vomir. And he's like, j'aime pas ça. I was like, no one likes it. I definitely don't like it either.
Hopefully. How have you managed for your child to be 5 years old and he's never taken medicine and never vomited? Like, people listening are like, what the fuck? Like, did you bubble wrap this child? Like, how did you manage that?
I mean, listen, he goes nowhere and does nothing. No, yeah, I know.
Okay, wait, because on top of getting him to take medicine to make his ears better, you need to give him medicine to make it not hurt. Like, that's a lot. Like,
so I sit on the couch. Okay, I sit him with me on the next morning after giving him Tylenol and Advil. I said, this is medication. So I had the antibiotic. I said, your ear is sick, so this is for the ear to get better. Your ear's like, please, Noah, give me this medication. And then I'm like, this medication is the one I gave you last night and at Mimeos. This medication is for when you're like, yo, ça fait mal. So I'm like, sometimes you'll need both. And if you take this one that's for the ear and it gets better, then it won't hurt. So you won't need both. And he's like, just listening to me. He's like, okay, j'ai compris. And then he needed to take the antibiotics 3 times a day. So it's not just getting in to do it once is a big deal. But then he was so proud of himself. He was doing it alone this morning. So proud of himself, Lo. And then he's at my mom's. My mom calls me. He just vomited at the table.
Oh.
It was like 20 minutes later. And she's like, Jose, literally just his pink and the toast that he just was trying to eat. He left with hyper, going to school, so excited. Anyways, so I'm like, okay, because it was like last night. And I was like, is this gastro or is this Jeff's like, definitely because all day he kept saying after the medication, he kept saying j'ai mal au cœur, like I don't feel good. So we would give him a popsicle or whatever. Like yesterday we kept him just because, like, are we bringing our child to school with an ear infection? But yes, but let's do a day, of no pain and whatever. So he didn't vomit all day, but then last night, and in my intuition, I'm like, it's not good. There's something about the way he's behaving right now that he doesn't know how to express after his medication. He had to express it to my mom. Started crying at 9 p.m. I was like, oh, ça va bien? Anyways, so I obviously didn't sleep all night and I was teaching spin this morning.
Oh,
Yeah, but just because I'm a mess of anxiety about vomiting. Like it's just like, you know what I mean? Like what if he's gonna wake up again? But no, he slept all night, woke up to hyper, ate his Cheerios. I'm going to school, takes his medication, going to school, vomits like 20 minutes later. I'm like, oh buddy, okay. So it's clear. It's clearly a pattern here. Anyways, so we will see.
my goodness.
Oh my
Okay. Well,
goodness, this all happened.
oh,
We'll keep everyone, but I'll keep you posted.
yeah.
And you know what? As you're listening to this happened like a month ago.
Yeah.
Noah's fine. Okay, so I spoke with my friend Tom Asacker yesterday, Alicia,
Mhm.
and he said this one thing that I want to have a conversation about just quickly before we start with our kind of tips and what we want to talk about today about December. He said well-being is instinctual. And I really enjoyed that because like he said, like if we were to be more mindful and listening to our bodies and listening to how they feel and what they're telling us and how they react to how we're treating it and not pushing it away and not coping and not finding, not convincing ourselves that this is normal or whatever, our well-being is very instinctual. Like our bodies. Yeah. And I really liked it, the instinctual. Like that's fancy. Anyways, I feel
I
like
think
you need a reminder.
you might need a little in a section in your little notebook. That's it's like
Favorite quote?
dictionary. It's like I feel like there's been so many new words that you were like, oh, I really like that one. You might need like a list, just a list of those words.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not the worst idea I've ever
Yeah,
had.
no, at all. And he was using the word conscious a lot yesterday.
Yeah.
My mom probably texting like, any news? And I love conscious. You know, 4 words that are very common is aware, conscious, mindful, and present. However, they all have their little like tiny difference.
Yeah.
But mindful is really just a mix of everything, but minus the approach. So the, like, you know, the attitude of like kindness and enthusiasm and like, you know, the positivity part, but it was a really good conversation.
Okay.
Okay. So today we're 1 week, the last week before the holidays. What do we want the people to know? Or what do we have to say to them?
I think that the people first need to get their mind right. Like that, like I can give you all the tips in the world.
You're right.
And I can tell you all the things to do, action items, go prep up some food, blah, 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 blah. But if your mindset is not in the right place, I hope that you're not already in that mine as well mentality. Let's start again January. Like I'm just really hoping that you're waking up every day with being mindful about the opportunities of choice that are in front of you every single day.
Yeah. Like I think right now I'm thinking today matters, like as in every single day matters. So don't make it a clumped shit show. Okay. Like it doesn't have to be all week. And you know, we had given the advice of like you should have some sort of template or calendar printed showing you your options and your opportunities all week. And I feel like it like Alicia said, the mind part, if your mind is already made up almost that like it's over and like you'll wait till January, like just that. Okay. So I'll wait till January. That is a very mindless, but also like mindset approach to how you're going to behave. And you've already made up your mind that whatever you're doing doesn't have an impact. It's like, oh, I'll start in January. And that's you convincing, like that's you trying to stay comfortable and not try to find opportunities to just like weight management can be a part of your goals right now. Like I'm just going to not feel like shit and eat for no reason. Like just that.
Yes. It's like we underestimate just that and the impact that could have on our mindset, but on our ass as well. Like I think, you know, we might think about it a bit more rationally, and maybe some people literally do this with money as well in December. Like maybe some people, you know, November, December are like heavy spending months, I think, for a lot of people. And maybe by December 18th, you're like, well, doesn't matter. I've already gone over budget. Like January, we're starting this like strict budget. And so not only are you in that mindset of like, it doesn't matter, but by kind of telling yourself that it's starting in January, you're creating a scarcity mindset. So it's like, well, I need to spend all the money right now on these things because come January, we're not spending money.
You're right.
And it's like, well, I got to eat all the things right now because come January, we're only eating lettuce.
Yeah.
Like it's so damaging, the whole throwing in the towel, might as well mentality, wait till January 1st. It is so damaging.
It really is. I,
Yeah.
like that whole scarcity. I hadn't seen it that way, but we've done that so many years where it's like, and also where does that stem from is you have an idea of what it takes to lose weight, and there's no, here's what the diet culture or diet industry has really taught us is that you're either really in and really fit and really nutrient dense and really like you're just the healthiest, you know. And it's given us like kind of the look of what that would look like, and then everyone else, and I'm like, whoa minute, no, okay, like there are it's like your different level.
Yes.
And I think that we've been with the diet culture, we've been sold that like level 10 of
Yeah.
health and wellness and like whatever. And I'm like, what does that even mean? Because if the person's miserable, I think happiness is a big part of being healthy, and being on this earth. And what the fuck are we doing here if we're all just like eating nutrient dense foods and fit, but we're all miserable alone at home? You know what I mean? Like, what? Why are we here?
No one wants to be thin and alone at home. Trust me.
No one's thin and alone.
No.
And so you don't want that. And I just feel like it hasn't given other options. It's like
Yes.
it's this or come back when you're ready.
Yeah.
And it's made people feel like shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's made people feel like I don't have access to any type of result. That there is no in between result, but there is like, oh mon Dieu.
It like always comes down to the perception of
Yeah.
what is required to create weight loss. I don't know if you saw, but like on my Instagram stories yesterday, I was talking about sushi from the grocery store. And I now live a life where like these kids are here, and we're eating dinner on the road, whereas that never used to be my life before. So I'm like experiencing that, which is, I know, something that people tell me often, like, well, can't eat dinner at home. And like, I just picked up this sushi. It was like, I don't know, 350 calories or something. And it was just like, this can exist, you guys. Yeah, like weight loss does not come from me sitting at home at my table with chicken and salad. Weight loss exists from creating a calorie deficit. And that can
Now,
happen.
yeah, now that you know that, go have at it. Go figure that out.
And again, like, so the whole point is like December 18th, people probably aren't eating, chicken from their Tupperware. Like there's a staff potluck and there's cookies and there's this and there's that. So trying to fit weight loss in a diet way is just never going to work. But like, it doesn't have to look that way.
And I mean, we say this over and over. Like we say this over and over. If people have been following us, they know this exists. However, we know how hard it is to believe, trust when you have not experienced it. But it is the only way, you guys, that it'll ever become your reality is with experiencing it. Like nothing is real without experiencing it. Nothing. Like you can only be like, I feel like that's real if you have some sort of, someone really close to you that you trust that has done it. And even then we've really realized that some people have best friends that have been that are members with Your Loss. And they're like, oh my God, stop being so skeptical. It works. You see me with your eyes. And still they're like, well, it won't work for me. And here's what's happening. Your perspective influences your choices so much because you can't, it goes back to what it knows and what it believes in. And so it's like, this is my perspective of it and I'm done. Okay, well, that's not growth. That's not progression. And you're just going to keep getting the exact same results that you've always gotten. And again, you choose, like, this is on you. But our job is to make sure that you know that what you want is accessible to you.
Yeah.
And to tell you that over and over, but you will need to tell yourself that for it to happen,
Yeah, you'll need to actually experience it. So really, all that to be said, you guys, we would love for you to be waking up on December 18th from the perspective and mindset that how can I show up today? Like what do I have access to? What are my resources? What's important to me? Like maybe you are having that staff potluck and you're like, oh, that coworker is making those score bars. And those are important to me, so like acknowledging what's important to you, what you need to feel satisfied, what you could skip or change that wouldn't leave you feeling deprived.
Yeah, I'm going to give this example. It's perfect. So I was sending my intentions to Nadia this morning, and I said, like, I'm on a groove right now, and I'm like feeling really good about like the way I'm showing up, and I'm really connecting to everything that's coming up in the next few weeks that I want to use fully advantage of just days where nothing's happening. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's literally my method right now is
Yeah.
there's nothing happening today. Be extra mindful, take opportunities to extra move your body, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, it's Wednesday. The only obstacle I have is my mom's house. I always have good intentions, but I get there and then I'm like, I don't want to feel deprived and bring my food. Like I don't want to do that. So I'm like, okay, you got this, typically end up eating always more than intended, yet nothing crazy. I don't lose my shit. It's very intentional. I show up. Anyway, so I was like, my mom's making spaghetti tonight. And I'm like, I just don't know if spaghetti honestly is something that I'm like, I'd like to use or eat or whatever, instead of like all the things that are coming this weekend, So I'm like, I just don't know if it's worth it to me. I haven't decided. So again, I always leave space, one decision at a time, but I'm just having this conversation. And she's like, think about what's at your mom's. She's like, you can always make everything work. Like, and I know that, but it's fun when someone else tells you like everything can work, spaghetti can work, and that. But she's like, is it the pasta? Is it the sauce? Is it like, what do you want? Like, what do you want to make work? And I was like, great question. And honestly, it's the garlic bread and the sauce. It's not the noodles. I don't care about the noodles, but the sauce is delicious on the garlic bread. So she's like, you could just have garlic bread and sauce. You know what I mean? Or you could have none of that. You don't have to. But we just like have quickly that conversation. I was like, oh, that's true. Like, and it's just about looking at your options and not saying ultimately eat it or don't eat it and bring your chicken and whatever. And if you do bring your chicken and whatever, it really is because like whatever's there is not important to you and really not what you want right now. So, and also guys, like you can change your mind. You can say, I didn't want spaghetti. Now I do. And there's no big deal because spaghetti's not bad. Like,
and you know, what's so important, you guys, when you do decide to change your mind, that you don't judge yourself.
Yeah. Nope.
Shit about yourself, because that is going to end in a spiral of eating and binging. So if you go there and you end up eating noodles, you don't say, I suck, I don't have willpower, I don't have motivation, why did I do that? That's just going to make you feel like you failed. And when you already feel like you failed, you just fail. You want to fail more.
Yeah, no, you are an adult. And I think that it's important that you just don't feel like I had said I wanted this and whatever. It's food. Stop. Like, don't see it as this is a good decision. This is a bad decision. This is the right one. You had just said you had these intentions, and before leaving, you changed your mind or before going. So yeah, I just feel like I'm going to go with the flow. We'll see how the rest of the day kind of goes, and no drama. Like there's nothing I can do today that ruins everything, like, so I think it's that approach, that like no stress approach, I guess abundance, like I have a million different ways that I can do today. Can look a million different ways.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like it's a conversation that we need to continue inside our sneak peek group.
Yeah.
I want to write down what's the date that this is coming out? The 18th.
December 18th. Yeah.
Okay. So if you guys want to continue that conversation with us in our sneak peek group, it'll be an amazing place to just have a chat about like, what can I do today? How can I show up today? What's worth it for me today? So you can just search that on Facebook, Your Weight Loss Sneak Peek. And we're always chatting with literally thousands of other people that are looking to create weight loss from like a mindful approach, a different approach.
Yeah. And we're so excited to launch our Mindful Body program in January. I think that right now it's really important that you are on our email list. So if let's say you're a new listener, you want to learn more, the link to learning more about your weight loss is also in this podcast. But I think obviously we know that right now is a perfect time where you're like flirting with what's going to happen in January and what you want out of 2024. And I do hope that you're not going to pick the 6-week detox. Like, let's be real. Okay. Next year is 52 weeks. It's not just 6. And I really think that if we can want an approach that we know that's going to be long lasting. And I know that's what you want. So stop choosing things that aren't what you want. You want the long lasting. One last thing before, I know there's 4 minutes until it's done. I was telling Tom that someone asked me the other day, what's your one message at Your Weight Loss? She was new. She didn't know who I was or the program. And I did a great job to say that, Your Red Weight Loss is basically that we've developed a fully psychological process to prioritizing women's well-being. I didn't say weight loss. I didn't say anything, just like le bien-être de la femme. And just gave a few examples. She was like really connecting to what I was saying. And then she said, so like, what's your one message? Like, what's your one? And I was like, oh, ultimately there's so many, right? There's so many. There's, do I want to go where women should prioritize themselves in their world? Or do I go weight loss is accessible to you wherever? Like, you know what I mean? And do I go calorie deficit? Do I go, because it's so complex, right? And I was saying this to Tom yesterday, and he's like, he said it's always hard sometimes when it's like this because it's personal development work that you do. So when people say like, how do you do what you do? He said, if ever someone asks, how do you do what you do? You say, they do it. I don't do it. They do it. And I help them do it. Because you know what? When you do it versus when the diet industry does it for you, that's the difference. So do you want to do it, or do you want to let the diet industry do it for you? The difference will be how long lasting this is. And that's what we create. We let people do it. They figure it out with our guidance, with our community, with our support, with our coaching. Yeah. But they end up doing it because it's their way. So how do I do it? There's no particular process. There is no particular process. Stop asking for it.
Yes.
Stop thinking it exists as well. The process is the diet culture process. It's someone else's process. It's not yours. You are not in charge of this. You can do that, but it's not going to be long lasting. What do you want? Anyways, that was good. It was a good conversation.
So many good conversations.
Yeah. And and just like when people like that worked, I had that conversation with him as well. And I just want to say this, nothing temporary. If you had a success that was temporary, nothing that's temporary worked. So stop saying that something temporary that you did 3, 4, 5 years ago, that you just did temporary, that the success was not long lasting. That is not what working means, especially
that disconnect between defining success as weight loss and defining success as changing
long
your life.
lasting. Yeah, changing your life and long lasting results.
It's like we're getting blinded by the short term weight loss, and we live in a society where people want everything yesterday, and so we're fighting against that.
My God, I'm annoying. So yesterday we talked about people wanting everything, and that's the thing. We talked about how how people say, I want that.
Yes.
Typically, want is a desire. It's something that you don't currently have, and you use the word want, and that's language. We use the word want with something we do not currently have. And he's like, that like when people, they literally choose what they want, that's how they live their lives. It fills up every minute of their day. And then they live of the want, and it's everything, both of them together. What they actually do and what they say they want together would mean doing everything. So I want to stay on the couch. I want to exercise. I want to sleep in. I want to get up. I want to not drink. I want to drink. I want to not eat. I want to eat. So like, it's like that. You can't have everything. No one, whatever you choose to want that, there's compromise where you don't get that. If you want that, you don't get this. And so it's like creating that like awareness and being present in, am I choosing actually what I want? Because I can't have it all. I can't do it all. I can't have both things. So I need to pick what I want. All right, let's end with that. Look at our links. Come find us on Sneak Peek group on Your Red Weight Loss. Send us a DM if you have trouble with anything. Wishing you a fantastic week. Bye.